Okay, gotta get all situated first. Let's scoot you guys in. Okay, hi friends, welcome back to my channel. So we're doing a little something different. And after I've posted my Run Disney vlog a couple weeks ago, I got some requests for a kind of Run Disney Q&A. So this video is for those of you that have never done Run Disney before, but want to, or at least want to know more about it. So we're gonna do a little bit of Q&A, sort of. We're gonna start and I'm gonna talk about, you know, what Run Disney is and like the process and everything, what it looks like from start to finish. And then we're gonna go into what I wish I knew before my first Run Disney event. It's like things that are not super common that I think would be helpful to know if you're about to do a Run Disney race. So without further ado, let's get started. A little bit of background, I have done 3 Run Disney races, all at Disney World in Florida. So I've never gone to Disneyland to do a Run Disney race, but I know that they do have them. I did the 5K to start off with 3 years ago, and then I did the 10K, and I just did the 10K in February of this year. All super, super fun. And if you don't know what Run Disney is, if you haven't figured out based on what I'm saying, it's Disney's fun run. And I mean fun run, okay? I am not a runner. I'm not a person that particularly enjoys running unless it's at Disney and unless it's Run Disney. So yeah, I'm just gonna leave that there. We'll talk more about that in a second. Let's get into start to finish the Run Disney process, how it works. I will say getting a ticket to a Run Disney event is like getting a ticket to the Era store. It's an intense process. And from what I've learned, the easiest way I've learned to get my tickets is, first things first, follow Run Disney on Instagram or social media, whatever you use. I follow them on Instagram and they always post like, hey, we're getting ready for tickets to be sold on this date, like be ready. And that's how I know when they're coming out, because to me, it's like not common knowledge otherwise. Whenever the tickets are posted, it is like 20 minutes and it is sold out. So you gotta be on your game. You gotta be ready with whoever in your party's information, and you just fill everything out like super quickly, and then hopefully you'll get your tickets. They pretty much sell out every year from what I've seen. So you gotta be quick. You gotta know what you're doing. And then once you get your tickets, it's usually like a year in advance, okay? Or at least quite a few months in advance. Use that time to plan your costume. And here's the thing about the costume, okay? Every Run Disney race that I have seen has a particular theme. Like for instance, this year, I think it was Adventures Out There and it was Up themed. Do you have to go dressed in the Up theme? Absolutely not. Choose whatever costume you want. It's completely up to you. And that's kind of what I love about it. There is gonna be a lot of people that choose to stick with the theme, but you do not have to, and nobody will look at you weird if you choose not to. One of my favorite things about the Run Disney race is seeing everybody's different costumes. There are a few people that don't wear costumes. They stand out, okay? They look a little strange because everybody goes all out. Some people buy their costumes, some people make their costumes. So I would recommend, if you are a Disney fan, have a costume. Pick whatever the heck you want. If you're going in a group, coordinate within your group. That's always so fun. And then sometimes if your costume really stands out or is really cool, the people at the event will put you like on camera or will interview you or something. So that's just like an extra layer of fun there. Anyway, that's on costumes. And then the weekend of your event, it is like an all weekend thing, I'm telling you. For the 10K, and I think even the 5K, we ran it on Saturday morning. I'll get to that Saturday piece in a second. We ran it on Saturday morning, but you have to check in at, I believe at Disney World, it's like I don't want to call it the World Wide Web of sports. That's not it. It's like, there's like a sports center that you check in at the day before. You get your bib, you sign your waivers. Basically you get ready to show up the next day, and like you can show up and you don't need an ID or anything. Like you're all ready to go in your costume the day of the race. So that's usually on Friday. Show up, check in, do all your stuff, get all your stuff. And then it's also kind of fun because there's an event where they sell a lot of things you could use for the race. If you don't have a costume and you want a last minute costume, there's all that stuff there. They just have a lot of vendors, and you can kind of go through and see Disney themed items from vendors. I think Corksicle is one of their big supporters, so they always have these like really fun Corksicle looking Disney themed bottles and stuff. And you can also get your merch there before. They sell Run Disney, like just all sorts of Run Disney merch, Run Disney ornaments, shirts, of course. But that is the event. That is check-in. It's usually on Friday, the day before your race. And then day of the race is for us, it was Saturdays, always on Saturday. Be prepared to wake up at the literal butt crack of dawn. I'm talking like, okay, go back and watch all my vlogs. I promise you, the day of the race, we wake up at 3 a.m., 2:30 maybe if you have like a really elaborate costume, and you have to be in the park, in the park for the race. I believe it's by 5:30 is when the race actually starts. And the reason everything happens so freaking early is because Disney World has to get the race completely finished before the parks open. Because when the parks open, like everybody's coming in. It's a normal day at Disney. So that's kind of what it looks like start to finish. The whole process of getting a ticket, running the race. As far as timing wise. Now let's get into the things I would have wanted to know before my first Run Disney race. And these really aren't in any particular order. I just took notes so I wouldn't forget. But basically things you should know is rain or shine, that Run Disney race is gonna happen. My very first Run Disney 5K that we did, it was pouring rain the whole time, and we went to the park after. It was pouring rain then too. We were soaked. Everybody was soaked at the race, but the race still happened and it was still a lot of fun. But rain or shine, that race is gonna happen. So be prepared. And one of the first things I learned, especially if you think you're gonna have not great weather while you're having your race, is bring a jacket or a raincoat that you don't mind throwing away. I thought this was really cool. A Run Disney, like longtime 30-year veteran told me this, my first race. She said she always goes to Goodwill, picks up a rain jacket or just any kind of jacket that she doesn't really care about. She wears it while she was stretching and stuff before the race because it gets kind of cold. And then once the race starts and she's running and she gets hot, she literally chucks it on the side of the road because Disney will come around after the end of the race and they'll pick up everybody's kind of lost items and they donate it to like a women's shelter or to Goodwill or kind of a charity. They donate everything. So I think that's kind of a nice way to cover your butt, but also help a charity in need too. One of the coolest things I think that makes this race so fun is it's not a timed thing. I don't know of anybody that really runs this race to get the best score, the best time to win. I've never really heard of that because the race is so different. It is truly a fun run. When you start the race, they have all sorts of things going on from the start to the finish line. There are characters, you can stand in line to take pictures with characters. There's movies playing, there's cast members cheering you on. Last time I was there, they had a whole band, like a high school marching band, playing, I think, Disney songs while we were running. And then they had, then you run through the park itself. We've always run through Epcot, but you run through Epcot and just think for a second how awesome that is. The park is completely empty. The runners and the cast members are like the only ones in the park at that time. So I always saw a lot of people just stop, especially in Epcot, like they'll stop outside of Mexico or outside the different countries and just take pictures. There's nobody in the background, it's completely empty. And it's really the only time you're gonna get it like that. So there's just so much to do while you're running. And my biggest recommendation is to take it all in. Don't try to finish with your best score because it's truly about the experience. And once you exit the park and finish the race, you can't go back in and take those pictures or really enjoy the view or see the characters. So I would just soak up the entire experience while you're in the race because it's really fun and they really try to make it entertaining. That being said though, the only caveat is I've heard this from so many veterans, but I've yet to see it. But I was honestly super scared of this my first race. Apparently, because the parks are opening and they have to get all the runners out of the parks, if you take too long to run your race, if you stand in line, because the lines are like astronomically long still for the characters, if you see too many characters, or if you're walking and you walk too slow, apparently there is a white van that will come and they will pick up all of the people that are still there, because the park has to open and they're like, okay, we're done kind of thing. And if you see this white van, I've heard, you better run, because they're gonna pick you up and they're gonna end that race early. And I'm always terrified of that, you know? I've never seen it, but logistically, it sounds like that would happen, and I've heard that to be true from a lot of other RunDisney veterans, so please know that. Enjoy your experience, enjoy the race, but just don't be too slow. One thing I think is cool that I want to try, now that I've done just the 5K and the 10K, and I want to get to the half marathon next year, but I digress. One thing I want to try is they have challenges. During the year, they have multiple different themed races going on, and with those themes, there are different challenges that you can do. I've never done them. I want to do one in the future. But for instance, one of the challenges my very first year was the 5K, 10K, half marathon at Disney World, and then going over to Disneyland and doing the full marathon. That was a challenge, and you can see like it's a lot. You have to be very dedicated to do that one, but I think there was one last year that was like you do the 10K and half marathon, and that was the challenge. They change it, I believe, with every race. So if you see that when you sign up, don't be surprised. They do have little extra things that you can do, and I'm gonna try that. One of these years I wanna try a challenge. And then kind of just to close this, I hope that I answered a lot of your questions and just made you more familiar with what to expect. If you're doing RunDisney for the first time, honestly, you should expect a lot of fun. It is the fastest fun run you'll ever do. I've done so many fun runs before, and I'm like, dang, these 3 miles, I'm really feeling every mile, or this 10K is like the longest thing of my life. But with the RunDisney races, they go so quick, and you honestly kind of forget that you're running because there's just so much to see, so much to do, enjoy people's costumes, get to run through Epcot, different parks. We ran through Hollywood Studios one year. So there's just so much going on that is honestly the most fun run that you'll ever do. So I hope I answered your questions and kind of got you more familiar with what to expect. But the last thing I will leave you with is probably one of my favorite things about the RunDisney event that you're never gonna guess. It is the post-run nap. Do not skip this, my friends. You will regret it. So one of the best things is you wake up at 3 a.m., right, to get into your costume and go to the event. The race starts at like 5:30 in the morning, and then usually you finish by 7:30, depending on what heat you're in. And after that, you get this feeling of accomplishment. You get that runner's high. You get your medal, your Disney themed medal, and you get to relax with all the runners. And then after that, you get on the bus and you go back to your hotel or your resort, and you take the fattest, best post-run nap ever. I'm talking like you need to reserve like 4 hours of your day for this nap, because it is pure bliss and it is amazing. Every year I tell my family, I'm like, oh, I'm getting up at 3 a.m. and the only way I'm doing that is I know I'm having that post-run nap later, and it is going to be phenomenal, and it always is. So that's honestly some of the most fun things about RunDisney that I absolutely love, and I will continue to do RunDisney and vlog it for you guys for the future. I aspire to do them all, really. Challenges, the half marathon, the marathon are what we got in store, and it's gonna be really, really freaking fun. So I hope this answered your questions, you guys. If you have any more questions, and if you're doing a RunDisney race, put them in the comments below. I'll try to answer them. And I hope you like this video. And if you're doing RunDisney, I hope you have the best time and you choose the most fun costume and you absolutely have a great experience. See you later, you guys. Bye.